Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with me so far. So now I want to talk about something really important, and that is your mindset when you decide to treat an AVM. You have to make a decision, a real one, to commit to curing this AVM. And I don't mean that you have to cure it by endovascular treatment only. No, no. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you have to be committed to helping this patient through the entire journey, whether that's with embolization, surgery, radiosurgery, or a mix of all three. But you have to own the case because once you start treating the AVM, you become the one who knows it best. You've seen it from the inside and you understand the feeders, the veins, the compartments. You've done the angios, the planning, the mapping. You're the one who's watched this AVM evolve after each session. So, yeah, you really got to stick around. You've got to follow up the patient, provide psychological support, guide them. Even if you can't go further with embolization, maybe the anatomy changed or things didn't go as planned, refer the patient, consult someone more experienced, or maybe plan for a radiosurgical boost, but don't disappear. All right. So let's talk about how we actually treat the AVM. Here's a rough but surprisingly accurate analogy I always use. Treating an AVM is like eating an apple. Yeah, an apple. You never just bite the core first, right? You always start at the outer parts, the peel, the edges, then slowly work your way inward. Same with AVMs. You start from the periphery, the indirect feeders, and then you move step by step toward the nidus center. So session 1, you deal with the indirect feeders. Those pile collaterals that come from a neighboring territory, like from the ACA into an MCA nidus, for example. And when you go to embolize those indirect feeders, there's something really important. Make sure your microcatheter is well positioned. You don't want it to be sitting far from the nidus. No, you want it to be perineal, very close to the nidus, at the end of the artery, at the end of the line. Why? Because if you start embolizing too far upstream, like where those pile collaterals are running, your liquid embolic can stray into normal tissue, and that's ischemia. That's not what we want. So be very precise here. Then in session 2, you start tackling the direct feeders. And here I usually divide them into 2 groups. The first group is the microshunts, the smaller, slower feeders. And the second is the macroshunts, the big guys, the ones with high flow and large caliber. And again, you always start with the smaller feeders. Because if you go for the macroshunt first, what happens? The blood flow is so strong, your liquid embolic will just shoot straight into the draining vein. And if you occlude the draining vein while the AVM is still filling, well, that's basically the worst thing you can do. The pressure builds up inside the nidus, and boom, rupture. It's a disaster. That's why we always go from small to big, peripheral to central. You'll notice this too. By the time you reach the final session, the AVM has shrunk. The macro shunt you saw in session 1, it's smaller now. The draining vein, smaller too. That's how you know you're almost done. All right, that's it for now. In the next one, I'll show you some classic embolization techniques like push and plug, and how to use onyx the right way without getting stuck. See you there.